Welcome back to In the Arena Podcast. This series, we're talking about how you can grow and scale your business and your life. And in this conversation, one of my favorite people in St. Tammany Parish, Miss Marianne Rodriguez, and her husband, Rock Whittington, talked to us about how they, as a artist and an art business, were able to intentionally grow, keep the creativity, but also live their purpose. And if you're trying to determine what your purpose is, or to see what other people are doing to identify and to work towards their purpose, this is the episode you need to tune into. Welcome to the Arena Podcast with Marianne Rodriguez. The credit belongs to the man who is in the arena. Dare greatly and build intentionally. Welcome to In the Arena Podcast. Welcome to In the Arena Podcast. Very excited to have some dear friends of mine and Arena. We've done some things with you in the past. It's been great. Marianne Rodriguez and
to be here. Thank you.
Mr. Rock Whittington.
Our local celeb.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
guys are awesome. I do. And I agree. Local celeb. I mean, your artwork is a staple of of Covington, really, in St. Tammany Parish, which you are one of my favorite artists. So
yes. Bring in the colors.
That. Yes.
Thank y'all.
I was lucky enough to get one of your 60 by 60 pieces 6-7 years ago.
Do you cuddle with it sometimes? I feel like I could catch you.
I do. It's behind our couch in our living room, and we have a sectional, and the TV's one way and your picture's the other way, and like everybody else be watching the TV, and I'll lay the other way and just look at the painting for a little while, just kind of find a different perspective on it because it's really cool.
It means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm really excited to have you guys here this week and this month. We're talking about in our business planning operating system talk. How do you identify what your purpose is? And I thought that you'd be a great person to have that conversation with because you are an artist. You're not a trained artist in the sense of like you went to school to learn how to be an artist. Mm-hmm. You have kind of discovered that as your purpose. And I feel like you believe that you're living your purpose now in the way that you do your art. And the experience I had when I went the one time to go visit and I got to kind of see behind the scenes of how you create your art. It's such a personal feeling of inspiration that you have from what you've told me that I think you have to have a purpose behind that. It's not as intentional or strategically planned. It's more of this is how I feel I want to paint or I want to create art today. Right. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. Like how you come up with a piece of art and how you get inspired to make something.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so much of my process is very intuitive. Like I don't plan most of my paintings and, like my purpose is really to create art that makes spaces come alive and to remind people that beauty is still important and beauty exists and we're all capable of bringing beauty into the world. I love to work intuitively. I think that if I were to plan things out, it would just feel really forced and contrived. And I've done that before where I just like love the beginning of a piece and then later just felt like throwing it away and starting over. So I think
don't throw it away.
Yeah.
Just bring it over here. Whatever you do, don't throw it away.
Right. I know I do have like a pile of unfinished work, but I think people resonate with that that energy, that enthusiasm, that sort of like impulse in the work. And I am a colorist. I consider myself a colorist in that I have a certain palette that I stick to that I use purposefully. So not learning color theory formally was sort of an advantage for me because I had to figure out myself, my own special combinations that I felt were harmonious and joyful. And I feel like that always shows up in all of my work, whether I change my subject matter or not. And I think that's like the most powerful part of my process and what people gravitate to the most. Yeah. Especially when they walk into the space, right? So having a gallery in downtown Covington, people can come in and experience the work and they walk through. And the first thing that people always say is like, oh my God, it's so happy in here. I love it. I feel so relaxed. I feel happy. I feel uplifted, overjoyed. And that's really kind of the purpose of what I'm doing is to uphold that feeling and share it as far and wide as I can.
Does it still work for you? Do you still walk in and go, oh, these colors make me happy and joyful?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. Like every day we get in and we're like, oh, we are so blessed to have this space. Yeah. We're so blessed to do this. And I think it's super important to have that gratitude and that awareness of like the skill set and the tools and the audience that you've built and to keep the momentum going. Yeah. And so, we don't get bored of what we do. We always try to kind of push forward and innovate and keep things fresh. So yeah, it's an honor to.
We've talked about it before to the point that if you haven't been to the studio, or if somebody hasn't been to the studio, I highly recommend you go stop by, because you do feel inspired when we're in a planning mode, or we're in a position where we have to be creative and come together as partners. We've talked often about creating a space or asking if we can come stay in y'all's space, and just putting a table in the middle of the room where we're just in an environment where there is inspiring and positive and creative, because every piece that you make is so creative. I know I've seen whenever you've designed, you're almost using paper mache at some points, right?
Yeah, it's mixed media. So I actually create my own pattern papers and I work that into the piece. So I kind of like for the eye to move around it and not know where like layers and lines begin and end. So that's sort of, I think, what you're picking up on.
Because there's complex pieces in that, and when you look at it, and then there's also simple like lines, like almost like crayon on the paper, but it has a purpose, and it like carries your eye across the canvas, and you end up moving around in circles, and you find something new every time you look at it. Yeah, which is great. And, I think something else that I think is very cool about what you do, and finding your purpose, right? Like you're trying to create art that makes people happy, right? You're trying to make it, the energy level of your art is supposed to inspire people. And so when you're making an original piece of art, which is something when we had our initial conversation really struck me, is, that original piece of art is going to go to one person. And that one person has to feel a tie to that piece. And this kind of also brings in the business side of it and how you find that person, because if you have a piece of art and you're not marketing it, or you don't get it out to enough people to be able to see it, the person who might be meant for that piece may not ever find that piece and see it. And so, that it ties in the business side of it, but I'm sure that when that person walks in and sees it, what type of relationship is built between you and them will immediately they walk in and find that that's the piece they want to put in their house. Yeah, that's a really great point. It's, when I'm creating, when I build different collections, I'm thinking of like the space that it's going to go in. Of course, the price points and who is able to collect which pieces and at what sizes. And when someone finally does come in, it's usually like they've been waiting for a particular, there's a space in their wall that they're looking to fill. And there's a certain energy that they're looking for to bring into their space. Because, art is not just about like having decoration. It's about building an environment that you feel inspired to wake up to and live in and move through. And when that exchange is kind of like, it's a really beautiful thing, because it's like someone is sharing their success with my success. There's that interaction where they're able to collect a piece of work that means a lot to them, and it means a lot for me to let it go and be with this person. So it's a really, it's a symbiotic exchange. And, we love our clients and our collectors. And I would say that customer service is like our main driving point in our business, is to take care of everyone and make sure that they're appreciated. Art is such a personal thing. It can be such a personal thing for some people. And it's kind of like you click, they get you, they get your vision, they get your process. We've remained really good friends with a lot of our clients. And to this day, they continue supporting us. And we see each other around town, like we'll run into each other out and about. So yeah, it's a really wonderful thing. Yeah. I mean, we always talk about how everybody wakes up every day trying to be the hero of their own story, right? And those things that you collect and you put in your home that you're proud of, right? I bring people in my house, and there's this piece of art that people walk in, they're like, this is amazing. And like, it shows that, one, they have the resource to be able to have something like that in your house, but also just like that being something that I want to put on the wall that I want people to see, right? It gets a connection, and that people know something different about me than, when I was in college, when it was all the Ducks Unlimited pictures I had on the wall that were that are all in the attic now.
So Stephanie's much happier.
Yes,
with your choices
as a
today.
Family chose your painting to put on the wall too, so that makes a big difference. But talking about purpose, right? I want to get into how you kind of got to the art phase of your life, right? Because you've gone through several things, and everybody that we're going to talk to over this month, there's 3 people. Everybody had a unique upbringing that made and impacted who they are as an individual. And help them identify what their purpose is. And so let's talk a little about how you got there, right? You grew up and you traveled a lot. And I think you said that had a lot to do with it. So let's kind of start from your background and see how that kind of shaped your purpose.
Yeah, I guess my unique upbringing really has something to do with like my worldview and what I put into my work. So I was born in the Philippines and grew up in West Africa, moved to England, Guatemala. Came to the States for a short stint, moved back to the Philippines, came back here sophomore year of high school. So yeah, like I've always been a creative person, and I feel like your purpose really is a combination of like your God-given abilities, that's your personality, the kind of energy that you have, how you connect with people, and like what you feel you're good at, and what brings you that feeling of aliveness. And like if you just kind of like think about how all those intersect, I think you'll really sit and find what you'll be good at to pursue as your vocation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think I've always been a creative person, but it wasn't encouraged to me to pursue art, as first generation immigrant here. It was kind of like, you got to do something that's stable.
Yeah.
You got to do something that'll ensure that you're financially, you have a financial foundation. Yeah. And, I'm not making a political statement about like being first generation here. It's really about like pursuing the American dream to the fullest extent, and knowing that you are capable of attaining something great and being a part of a community and giving back and living an abundant life. And so I guess I just took all of my past experiences and the love of creativity that I had in my bones, and really just kind of pursued a lot of different creative outlets until I landed somewhere where I felt like I could do this. So, when I was in college, I took ceramics, I did photography.
Yeah.
I did illustration. I was in fashion design. I have a degree in fashion design. And so when I kind of picked up painting, it sort of felt natural to kind of explore composition and color. And so I think it's just important to leave yourself open and don't limit yourself. And I've done that in my process. Every year I'm adding new materials to my work and exploring new techniques. So yeah.
So her fashion designer, is that why you always dress so nice?
Well, he's definitely not doing it himself. Y'all don't dress
graduated
yourselves,
from
right?
Goodwill thanks to her. It was hard to shake the hipster for
You're a
many,
thrift shopper?
many years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, well, we were, we had, when Rock and I met, we were both like artists, and we had that starving artist experience for sure. Like just trying to figure out where we were going to land in what we were good at. And so actually when I met Rock, he had renounced all of his belongings because he was getting ready to enter the monastery as a monk.
That's when we first met. That's one of the first things we connected on talking about it, because I was just on meditation and it was partly with Jason and her husband's big into meditation and
really?
And that's how and Dom Luke. I don't know if you know Dominic Luke. Yeah, that was kind of I was all kind of going through that exploration of that too, and that's where we really connected on that. And so you kind of pulled him back a little bit on that?
No, I mean, I kind of just totally like respected where he was in his chapter. I was in my own separate chapter, but I was like, this dude owns like 5 t-shirts. I was like, where's all this stuff? But he had literally given everything away, even his like entire music collection, his records, and he's a trained musician. So he has his own art side. But I think it's been a little bit of a journey to kind of get to where we are. And you carry yourself in a professional way.
If you would have showed me a picture of where I'm at now, like 10, 15 years ago, I would have been like, no shit.
Not happening. Yeah.
So
never.
Let's talk about that a little bit too, because
possible.
I think it's important that both of y'all have a shared purpose, right? I mean, there's 4 partners at Arena, and so when we all came together, we had to make sure we had a shared purpose in order for us to be able to be aligned in where we're going. 4 people going in the same direction can be unique in a way, right? And there's 2 people who, as people who are together both and professionally and personally, y'all have other things, priorities and things to think about too. But, from my perspective, what you bring to the table is you kind of protect her ability to be creative, and you manage the gallery and the business side of everything.
Totally.
And so kind of how did you get involved in the whole game?
Well, when I was in my 20s, I got to fulfill my creative, dream really. And it was awesome, and I wanted that for her. And so I just kind of took a supportive role, like, yeah, you should do it. Bought her first easel, like, you should do this. You should just do whatever. And but I was still making music when we first met and doing my own thing. But at some point I was just like, let me take care of her.
Yeah.
And became a truck driver, just kind of, and from there, just opened my eyes having a responsibility like that. Cause I was only ever responsible to my own purpose, which was just to make cool music. And I never cared about the money or nothing. Like my life vision was make cool music.
Yeah.
But having a responsibility changed everything.
Yeah.
So philosophy on life, and
It's different than what it was when we first started that conversation, right?
what's
Your philosophy on life is different.
Oh
than
yeah,
what-
totally. I mean, huge shifts even in the last few years in that area, but yeah, it really came from just my wife's awesome. She's talented. I want her to have experience like the fulfillment of her creative dream, like a dream come true kind of thing. I saw it in her, and I never thought she would employ me essentially, more or less through doing it. But yeah, she just has the work ethic, the creativity.
Yeah.
She's
So
gifted.
From your perspective, if what I can tell from your end, you're saying I'm clearing the path for her to be able to be creative and create this goal and dream that she has for herself, and to make people happy and to create artwork that makes people feel that, right?
Totally. I mean, of course, I'm part of the business, so we have a
Yeah.
business purpose. But me as her husband and her life partner, like, I'm supporting her creative journey.
Yeah.
That's my ultimate purpose for doing what I do. Why we wound up where
Well,
we are. But
And the reason why I'm asking that question is because we've had a couple of conversations with artists, and the things that we talk often about is that, it's sometimes it's hard for creative people to create processes because that stifles their creativity.
Mhm.
And so either an artist who's a solo artist creates processes that take all of those things that have to be processed out and creates the space for them to be creative, or they have somebody that's on their team
Mhm.
or their spouse that allows them to go be creative, and they take all of those structures off of their plate.
yeah, I
So-
mean, that's my goal. Like, if
Exactly.
she can just paint, then that's perfect. Like in an ideal world, that's how it would be. I mean, when you have to push to grow a business too, and she's the brand,
Mhm.
it's literally her name. I don't, have that luxury all the time. Like, sometimes we have to collaborate, and she needs to do her creative input away from like paint on a canvas.
Yeah.
Which, like, for me personally, as a partner, I wish I had my own gas pedal
Yeah.
on the, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I just want to go do this right fast, but I'm just Rock Whittington, and the business is Marianne Angeli Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He has to deal with a control freak.
Yeah.
Which is cool, like, it's all good.
Yeah.
I just hear it's funny because I feel like we've talked about so many different things behind the purpose for both of you, but like the entire message is just love. Like, you start with all you want to do is have joy
Mm-hmm.
in the space that you create. You want people to be invited to the space. You're just here to support because you love somebody. Like, there's just an underlying sense of we're here for one another and here for our community. I think
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing.
For sure. I think
That's
that's the purpose of art in our lives, right? Because, like,
Yeah.
at the end, it's like, what's life without music and poetry and beauty? We're definitely dedicated to that, and it's good vibes.
Yeah. I can tell you one of the things that I thought was really cool, and I was drawn to it, was when I walked through the studio last fall. The gallery last fall, and I think you're having an event or something, but y'all had the Christmas decorations out,
Mhm.
right? Which if you're thinking about how can I create something that generates revenue and income for the business, right? I don't know whose idea that was, but I purchased 4
Mhm.
and
Thank
gave
you.
one to Lauren, gave one to
That one.
Becky, gave one to John, gave one to Stephanie at my house, and it's so cool because
It's the only gift Jared's ever given me. Just want to go on the record. So thank you.
I like supporting my people, and you gave me a good reason to buy something. So, but it was such a cool idea because you took into the small bite-sized piece of art,
Mm-hmm.
put it in a case or put it on a I don't know what you call
Like a
it.
hanging frame.
Yeah, and then
vintage
I was
frame.
able to give that to them as a little token of appreciation of our love and friendship and all that kind of stuff. So and it was a
Yeah.
really cool piece, but like that kind of ties in the opportunity to generate revenue for your business, but also continue your purpose of what you're doing.
Yeah, I think it's really important, if you're in the creative field, especially artists, like, you have to kind of be moldable to the seasons. And so, like, we're always thinking about how to keep things fresh, right? So I'm always updating the glass windows, offering things that are seasonal. So, we have a puzzle design that's coming up.
Cool.
That's pretty, like, people enjoy that all year round, but like Christmas time, do more giftable items, and of course make it festive. And then have different tiers of things to offer. So we have the original artwork for collectors. We also have prints on paper, giclée canvas prints. You can embellish those too to add something special to it. So that's like a lower tier. And then we have smaller items. We did keychains and
Studio mini original
Yeah.
paintings that are
like
small,
under
price
60
point.
bucks between the 30 to 60 price point. So it's really important to know like who you're serving and what you have to offer for all those different markets. And also to be generous, right? Support your community and wherever you can, pay it forward. I think that's like advice I'd like to give to anyone working out there, is to really know that it's not just you, and it's like you're not this lone ranger that's having to produce. You're in a network, you're in a community, you're sharing, and people are giving, and you should be giving back, and just making it.
We say it all the time, and I feel like I'm a broken record sometimes, but in order for you to accomplish within your community things you want to accomplish, your community has to be big enough for you to get there. And whenever you find these charitable organizations that are really pouring back into your community, if you invest in those and make your community better, it provides more opportunity for your kids and for your family and for your business to accomplish the things that you've set out to accomplish. So, I get the question all the time, why do you give so much money to these different organizations? But it's because they make my community better. And if my community isn't growing, then I'm not going to be able to grow. And so that's why we choose to invest.
It feels good to help somebody.
For sure.
Just at the end of it, it does.
And it does. And we can do it in all the different, every business can add value in a different way, right? Like, the artwork that you paint and that you put around town, when y'all were in MC Bank, right? Like you're adding value to the community from their perspective. And then, all the services that we offer from a legal standpoint, we can then plug that in and help people in ways that we might not otherwise get the opportunity to, because our services cost money, right? So
I want to touch a little bit on the environment and relating it back to business, right? Because we do this podcast to talk to entrepreneurs, and bringing it back to purpose, it should direct where you spend your resources. And for businesses, sometimes, we're lawyers. So you usually walk into a law office and it's like, all right, you got a conference room table and you have a bookshelf, you're good to go. You can go be a lawyer, right? And you walk into our environment and we want it to look totally different. You want it to be inviting. We want open spaces. We want people to be comfortable because they're dealing with something difficult.
Yeah.
And so that inviting, loving nature is so imperative. But even if you go a step further in business, we use the Abelson DISC assessment. And one of my favorite things about that behavioral assessment is that it talks about motivators. And I think so many people are surprised that aesthetics is one of the main motivators, right? You generally, somebody takes it and they're like, I'm motivated by money. I want a bonus. I want a higher salary. But at the end of the day, if I pull that report, I might have to go get this percentage now because now I'm interested. But it's a very high percentage that the top two, or at least the next two, are going to include aesthetics. And so your team is going to perform better when they enjoy their environment.
Yes.
They are going to generally be happier. I mean, we live in this just world of overstimulation all day, every day. And that's what every work environment is like as well. So why not take something that brings an element of peace, that brings a smile, that brings a positive energy into the environment. And you would be shocked just on your general business productivity. And I think those are little things that I watch entrepreneurs overlook, right? So why do we have an office that, costs this much? Because we want people to be here. We want to host events here. We want to teach people. We want to invite them. And then again, let our employees feel good about where they are.
Yeah, it's like building a sanctuary.
Yes.
There's two things that reminds me of. So we are like currently planning out our summer vacation and, looking at spaces. And the first thing that I noticed that makes me want to book a place is like, does this feel like home? And is the art cool? Is there art hanging on the wall that's cool? Then the second thing is, I was at church this past weekend and this lady approaches me and she's like, I don't know if you know, but my husband is going through cancer treatment right now. And she's like, I just wanted to tell you, and I didn't know that. And she's like, I just want to tell you that I pass by your painting at the cancer center every day. And it just like makes me so happy. And I'm so happy to see you there. And I can't tell you how many people have told me that, where it's such a privilege to have art in that space that actually makes an impact for the people who need it the most. And just like being really thoughtful about creating spaces that really make people feel, at peace or, invited and welcome and want to stay a little while longer, no matter what they're going through is really important. So y'all have done it really well here. I feel it for sure. It's awesome walking in.
Yeah, I think you said it really well earlier, but just what is a world without music and art, right? It just becomes time that you're passing through.
Exactly.
So give them that good energy. We appreciate you doing that.
Thank you.
I truly, I never appreciated original art till I got your piece, and now it's just, I don't know it, and I just find myself being more drawn to art and finding it around and wanting to go visit. Me and Stephanie for our 10-year anniversary this year, we're going to go to New Orleans and go visit some art galleries, just because just to give ourselves something to get away and do. But it does. I enjoy seeing different as far I bias to the bright colors that you put in there, but everything is impressive and fun. So I appreciate that. And look, from your standpoint too, you know, it's always, you always have such a smile when you walk in to the gallery, right? And then maybe it's just you're happy to see me, which I get to, buddy. But
Jared living his personality there.
He wouldn't be.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, like everybody who walks in, it feels so invited. You're greeting everybody, you're talking to them, and like every time you'll have a show, it's always a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm the most blessed in this category.
Yeah.
My office is her gallery.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, what am I doing if I'm not smiling at people when they walk in? And a lot of times people walk in and that their first visceral reaction is like general, like positive emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they walk in, they're like, you know, cool, you know, and beautiful and joyful and happy. I mean, there's layers of resonance with different people. Like some people walk in and they're just like, they found their like spirit realm.
Yeah.
You know, like their mind is blown and they're just like, whoa. And then other people, you know, they're maybe a little, don't get art or, you know, but either way. Yeah, anytime I'm away for like more than a day or two, when I go in the gallery, I'm like, what? It's pretty amazing. It is.
And I think if anybody listens to this, I hope that they connect that, you know, whatever you do for your life, right? Your life mission and goal, and that it can feel like y'all are describing, right? Like when you identify what your purpose is and you really love what you do, like you can find something in your life that can get you that feeling every time you walk in the door. And like you said, all you can be is grateful for it, because some people don't get that feeling when they walk in. They don't feel that same energy, and or the environment's not at the level because the employers or the leaders don't find that value. But I hope that when people are listening, when you dial in your purpose and you really get intentional and explore yourself, like you said, right? Like take the time to consider what you think your purpose is based on your whole life experience, because everybody's life shapes who they are, and ultimately it can change. But take that time to think about it so that you can have that same feeling. Because that's what I'm getting from this. Like y'all feel blessed, and y'all are obvious that y'all and it's apparent. It's hard for you to describe it almost, but it's a cool thing to hear.
Yeah, I mean, her willingness to take the risk. You know, I mean, if anyone can do it, you know, it's possible for sure. I think you have to have some of the necessary ingredients, though, right? Like she was willing to take the risk. It doesn't happen on its own. You got to like sacrifice a ton. Like we haven't had a paycheck in like 7 years or something crazy. 8 years. That's like, you know, it's its own kind of reality.
For sure.
You know, and it's a lot of surrender, and I'm trying not to steer it too much in the religion direction or God, but I'm very God driven in life these days. And, you know, without God for me, you know, to rely on orchestrating all these things we can't control, how we got our gallery. We were in a small studio. We just started working together. And
I remember where it was, right on the corner.
We did a yearly vision plan for purpose. Like, what do we need? What do we want? She was like, I want to be in Southern Living. And I was like, oh, that's cool. He was like, I want a 2,000-foot warehouse. I'm like, okay, yeah, me too. Yeah, sure. That sounds real great. But like a month later, we're like, well, we literally needed space. So the old dilapidated warehouse that looks like a haunted house, and I think it used to be a haunted house on Halloween, behind the beer garden. We called him up and he was like, what's this place? And the guy showing us was like, oh, you want to do an art gallery? Well, I might have a place for you.
Wait, there was weeds and no electricity.
Yeah, I mean, there was a hole in the wall, so that wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
Like it was literally sheet metal. But it was that week, his tenant was leaving. No one else had known we were with the landlord on like the day.
Yeah.
And it was 50 yards from our front door already. I literally rolled the art carts down the road.
Yeah.
So God.
Divine intervention all day.
Like meant to be.
All day.
Meant to be. But her vision to your purpose, and she asked for it. Ask and you will receive, right? So she put it down, and
you use the word vocation, right? And so it's not just by chance that all of a sudden we're guided in the right direction.
Yeah.
You spend that time in silence and prayer, you know, it was spoken to you, and it's what is the joke? Like, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yeah. There's a very important prayer that has "Thy will be done" in it, and it's true. Like if you just trust it and you follow your gut and your heart, you're gonna you would be led in the right direction. So,
Yeah.
and you never know who you're going to link up with that's going to help you get there, you know?
Right.
That's true. And on that note, just to clarify theologically, doesn't mean getting what you want.
Correct.
You know, God's will. You may or may not get the 2,000 warehouse, but to mindset and purpose, and God will protect you from what you don't need and all these things. But, you know, if the prayer is sincere, you'll be okay with not getting the thing, and you'll be closer to God, and it'll be all good.
For sure. 100%. I love it.
Yeah.
What a great way to start out the purpose conversation. I knew this was going to be a great conversation. So I really appreciate y'all coming on. Where's the gallery? What's the address?
We're at 323 North Columbia Street, across the street from the Art House and next to Cilantro. So we're a pink gallery and you can't miss it.
Margarita.
You will not miss those bright colors.
You won't miss the bright colors. That's for a fact. And I know obviously there's really nice pieces of big art, but like you go there's other opportunities. You can buy Christmas decorations and pots for your plants and all kinds of awesome stuff.
I want a puzzle.
Puzzles.
Yeah, I haven't gotten over that drop yet.
That's coming soon. We also have a collection that we did a collaboration with a company out of Australia, and it's like stationery, home goods. There's like gardening tools, there's bedding, there's pajamas, there's literally everything that you can think of for the home and lifestyle. And so, we kind of try to offer a little bit of everything depending on, the season.
Yeah.
But
so I recommend visit the gallery. Also go to your website because you have a beautiful, great website. My piece is on the website, so it's not for sale. It says it's been sold, but it's on there if you want to go look at it. And I just really appreciate you guys. It's been great getting to know you.
Thank you.
You too.
We love talking to y'all. Thank you.
You guys
Appreciate
are
it.
awesome. Thank you.